Hello. I just wanted to do a quick update on some of the energies and some of the shifts that we've just been going through over the last 6 to 7 months. In September of last year, I got a really strong feeling that the veil had lifted. So, for those who are not aware of what the veil is, at a certain point in childhood, generally, there's a veil that sort of descends upon the child's psychic abilities and kind of shuts them out. And so that means a lot of, adults don't end up having the same abilities that they had when they were a child. In September of last year, I'd had some sort of downloads around that, but in September of last year, it felt to me like the last shreds of that veil that would normally descend and stop children from having those impressions in adulthood pretty much disappeared. I've heard other psychics talk about it as well, and I've just done another prediction series with my dear friend Angie Suddath Walsh, which will come out shortly. So we discussed that in that as well. That preceded, and I don't believe I was aware of this. I might have been aware of this at this point. That preceded what Rory Duff, a geobiologist, has been talking about with the permanent harmony time of the ley lines, which occurred in December of last year. So, in my opinion, the veil lifted in September. Then we had this permanent harmony time come in. Now, that harmony time would normally happen at the equinoxes and at the solstices. So, we're talking, spring equinox 20th to 22nd of March. Oh, sorry, that's autumn. Spring is 20th to 22nd of September. You've got your December one, same dates, and also in June for winter. Now that we're in that permanent harmony time, those dates will still have significance, but they won't have the same effectiveness. So it's pretty much it's all year round now. We're in this permanent harmony time. What happens in harmony time is you have more nature spirits communicating with us. And I'm seeing this a lot now. So the reason I wanted to do this video in particular is I think a lot of people are going to be having these psychic impressions. Number one, the veil is lifted. Secondly, we've got this permanent harmony time. So the nature spirits, instead of just communing with humans during those solstices and equinoxes, they'll be making themselves more obvious at all times of the year. And I think it's really important to discuss this and to bring it out to people because that could make people feel like really crazy. What I want to show today is some images that will hopefully make these people, if they are experiencing this and don't know what's going on, they won't feel so, out of sorts. Our original people on every continent have had, as part of their lore, Lore, some sort of understanding of nature spirits, of nature communicating with humanity. So, and what generally happens is you'll see phenomena like facial apparitions that look humanoid or animal in nature within plants and trees, on the ground, in dappled light, in the sky, in the clouds, in water. These apparitions will appear. Unfortunately, with psychiatry, because there's a desire to get everybody onto big pharma drugs, you don't see them sort of understanding this as something that's, part of our existence here, as, original peoples have known for millennia. Instead, you see them talking about that being something called pareidolia, which is considered a nebulous stimulus. And also, it's handy if people have these abilities, these psychic abilities, and pick up on these things, and then you can call them crazy because then you can put them on drugs and you can put them into therapy and all of these things. This is, I'm not going to call it an epidemic, but there's going to be a lot more people picking up on these things in the next few months and years. So in order for them to not feel so, alone, I thought I would share this information. I'm at the point now where I don't really worry too much what people think about me and what I do. I've been working as a psychic my entire life and professionally for the last 21 years. So, I'm at the point now where if people want to denigrate, troll, and carry on, that's fine. This is too important to worry about what people think of you. If you have abilities and you want to share what your impressions are, the worst thing you can do is worry what other people will think. Who wants to live their life like that? So I'm not doing that. I believe it's really important to share this information. I have already shared some of this stuff in posts and in presentations. So I shared some of the information that I'm going to be sharing today in a presentation for the Cosmic Consciousness Conference last year in December, which was the bringing in of that permanent harmony time of the ley lines. I've also presented some of this information for Living Free Festival, Living Free Movement, and in various other ways, in posts as well. So some of it's a little bit new, and others you would have seen in those presentations under, more of a private sort of setting. One other thing I wanted to mention, we're going through so many shifts at the moment. So apparently the Schumann resonance has been going off for the last week. So the Schumann resonance is the ambient frequency of the Earth herself. And that's been going really, really high. And when that happens, you can often feel quite out of sorts. You might feel grumpy. You might be, tetchier than usual, find it difficult to sleep. Those sorts of things happen. So if you've been experiencing that over the last week, not unusual, you're not alone. Also, there are some scholars who believe that on the 21st of March, which is in the southern hemisphere, the autumn equinox, in the northern hemisphere, obviously, it's the spring equinox. On the 21st of March, according to certain scholars, and I actually believe this is what's actually occurred, we had the end of the Kali Yuga, of the Yuga cycle, which is a Hindu belief system. Now, this is so significant. So there are so many different things that are all happening all at the same time. We've just come into the age of Aquarius. The Kali Yuga, which is the satanic age, the dark age, has just ended. We're coming into what's called the Golden Age, or Satya Yuga. And this has been prophesied for millions of years by many different cultures. And I just wanted to list off some of those cultures. And I talked about this with Angie today when we did our prediction series. So it fits in with the astrology. It fits in with what the Earth's frequency is doing at the moment. It fits in with the prophecy that I have made. Since 2015, I saw a large group of souls coming in as children with gold soul frequency, which is that golden halo, which is a Christ consciousness level. Now, that Christ consciousness level is where Jesus Christ was at. He's often depicted with a gold halo. If you go into any church with stained glass window, you'll see Jesus Christ with a gold halo, Mother Mary as well. So we had a big influx of souls from 2015 onwards who were at that frequency, and I watched many of my clients. I read for people, give psychic readings and read auras, and I saw many of my clients going up levels and reaching this gold soul frequency. Many of my clients now are even above that. So we have this golden age preceded by a bunch of human souls getting to that very high frequency all at the same time, which is very, very telling. And for anybody else who reads auras, they'd be able to sort of corroborate that. And many of my clients can read auras, and many of my course members can read auras also, and they can also see that that's what's going on. There's also stuff in the book of Revelation, statements in the book of Revelations about coming into a golden age with the second coming of Christ. Now, I've said before, and I don't want to upset any Christians here or Catholics, but I feel like that second coming of Christ is a lot of souls all coming to an ascension point and reaching a gold soul level at the same time. And I believe that's what we're going through at the moment. We also had the Hopi Indians had prophecies around this time being a golden age. The Chryson Genos in Greek mythology also spoke of a golden age at this time, and the gullaldr, it's really hard to pronounce, Gullaldr, in Norse mythology. So there's also, so many other things that are, I can't bring in everything that has been talking about this time being so significant, because it's just, the list is, so long. So the reason I wanted to share this is because while we're going through this process, it can feel a little shaky, it can feel a little uncomfortable, you can be feeling grumpy or tense and not know why. So I think it's important to share so that people can understand what's going on and what's happening. Now, I just wanted to share a few things visually. So for starters, I wanted to share this. So this is an article from September of 2024, and I share this in my course. I do a psychic development course, and I share this sort of information. So a lot of people across the world recognize that we see these apparitions, these facial apparitions or humanoid apparitions in nature, and a lot of people see great significance in that. As I said, ancient peoples have considered this very, very important for a very long time. One beautiful example is this incredible mountain. Now, I think it's in the rainforest in Peru. I might have that wrong. I should have looked it up before. I know I've spoken about this before, but I can't remember exactly where it is. What's really amazing about this mountain, it is absolutely sacred to the people there. But if you look at it, it even has the same sort of facial features as the people who live in the area. So there's a gentleman obviously sitting there that has, similar facial features, which is just, incredible. And you've got to consider, what are the chances? Why doesn't it look like, somebody from a different race? You get multiple images of this, it's just amazing. No wonder it's sacred. So the reason I wanted to share that is I like to, a lot of people who want to troll someone like myself who talks about psychic ability and says it's not scientific and rah, 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 they just do not understand original peoples have spoken about these things for so long. And we're at a time now where we're supposed to be listening to them. So this isn't so out there. This is before the advent of psychology, psychiatry, science. This was the law. This was reality. And this is what I believe is coming back in. We are coming into a time where people are going to be seeing more of these sorts of apparitions. They need to understand it's not a mental illness. It's what original peoples across the world have believed in for such a long time, thousands and thousands and thousands of years. So this brings me to this image that I went for a foray. I'll be doing a ley line, basically doing a ley line hunt for the public. So I'll have, people are going to be able to come along and join in the Onkaparinga area. And this is part of the little foray I made recently with a friend, Alex, to see if we could find ley lines and portal points in this particular walk. And we found many. It was quite amazing. It was 37 degrees hot when we went, so we didn't spend a lot of time there, but it was just full of beautiful ley lines and portals. So where ley lines cross, you get a portal space. And those portals are where you'll see a lot of nature spirits showing themselves, showing these humanoid apparitions to get your attention, to show you this is a significant space. So one of the points where I actually took a little bit of footage, because there were ley lines everywhere all coming into this one place where I was standing, I didn't actually notice at the time, but there was a nature spirit looking at me. Now I'm going to show the footage in a moment. You can see the two eyes, that eye's very clear, nose, cheek, mouth, chin, hair. So to me, that's quite clear. I've been looking at and photographing nature spirits for a long time, well over 12 years. I know what to look out for, but even I didn't notice this energy watching me as I was walking through and filming. He's actually within a ley line. So if you look, there's a circle of energy. Now, in my course that I teach, my psychic development course, I teach people how to recognize where those circles of energies are and to pick up on the frequencies and to photograph them. And so all of those techniques are shared in the course. So he's within a ley line. I'm within the portal space. There's multiple ley lines feeding into this space. There's another one here. I'll show the footage now, and you can just see along the path. Again, there's a ley line going along the path, and they're coming from different directions. So for those who've done my course, it'll be good for you to be able to see whether or not you can see how many ley lines are actually coming into this space. As you can see.
Yep, I can see the portal now.
Very clear.
Yep.
Ley line there.
You need partnerships like this. You need the feeler and then the photographer. Feeler and seer. Yep. Yep, and you can see that one too. Better take some photos of that one as well. I think I just did, but I'll take them. Nice. Thank you, nature.
So again, there's that apparition. Now I'll just stop sharing. So again, you know, people might think I'm loopy. I really don't care. I've been photographing these apparitions for a very long time. I've had well over 400 people do my psychic development course. The vast majority of those have also found these apparitions in nature, shared amazing images with me, some of which actually comprise the course material now. So every time I do a course, these amazing people come and do the course and they share their material with me and they give me permission to share. So it's a collaborative effort. So that has all spawned the lay love down movement as well. This understanding that ley lines are visible. We have cryptochromes in the retina, the same CRY2 cryptochromes that insects and birds have, so we can see ley lines. We can photograph them. They turn up on the camera, on film and on the CCD. So it's amazing to be able to share these techniques, to actually go out and be able to see these things in nature. And again, I'm very excited about taking this foray and doing the ley line hunt. That's probably going to be in May of this year. So I haven't properly shared that yet. I'm just, you know, talking about it now because it's going to come up. So if you're interested in doing that, or if you're interested in doing my course, or if you just find this interesting, I hope it's been informative. I want to keep it pretty short. So yeah, if you're feeling these really weird energies and it's really intense at the moment, don't give yourself a hard time. Just recognize that we're going through shifts, we're going through changes. I see it all being very positive. Again, I did a predictions session with Angie Sutherth-Walsh today. That'll come out over the next few days, and I'll share that on my socials. And we can see some pretty amazing things coming up this year. It's a 9-year, so 2025, 2 + 2 + 5 is 9. In numerology, 9 years are completions. We are going to see an enormous amount of truth come out this year about so many things, decades old things. We're seeing it with the JFK files coming out. There will be the nitty-gritty of those things coming out as well, in my opinion. So there might only be surface stuff that we've seen before coming out, but it's coming out in mainstream, and that's what's most important. So it wouldn't really matter politically who was bringing it out. That's not what it's about. It's about the truth is coming out. It wouldn't matter who was in. Okay, it's about truth. So you've got to be so careful because people get all up in the air. Oh, you're being political because you're talking about a golden age. And I've been prophesying this golden age for years. This is long before anybody else was talking about it as much, you know, as they are now. So, and obviously, you know, I'm not the only one who knew about this. This has been prophesied for tens of thousands of years. So yeah, I just wanted to share that today. I hope it makes you feel good. If you see these faces in nature, you're not crazy. You are just very likely very psychic. I think a lot of people are coming into their psychic ability all at once. So I can see probably sometime this year, this sort of thing is not going to be laughed at as much as it usually is. Psychology has to shift and recognize consciousness as a science. And that is why my business name is Sixth Science, because it's about the science of consciousness. And the number 6 for me was all about in numerology, the number 6, thanks to Georgina Grace who explained this to me, the number 6 is about the feminine, about nurture. And that's why it's been inverted by the dark and used for their numerology system. I used that name Sixth Science because it was a pun on sixth sense. So I wanted to talk about the science of consciousness. That's what we need to know. There has to be a science around consciousness. There's a little bit about that in parapsychology, but it's not talked about enough. And that's what we're coming into. We're coming into a time where people will understand that consciousness, souls, it exists outside of the body. We do not disappear and stop existing at the end of the physical lifetime. We continue on. You know, we have past lives, we will have future lives. There are many, many, many different dimensions. Every chakra in the body connects us to a different dimension. And we are literally going through an incredible ascension process for humanity and for the earth at the moment. It is well worth being here. I want people to be, you know, happy to be alive because we really should be rejoicing right now. This shift is massive. All right, that's all I wanted to say. I don't want to take up too much time. Thank you very much.